How lucky are we? Something every Seahawks fan should have been asking themselves over the last 10 years. In truth, so many 12s have joined the wagon in that stretch and have never known what it's like to face a losing season, or a season without a stud QB for that matter. This season will certainly be different for Hawks fans, according to the experts and NFL fans alike. After all, the best player in franchise history was traded. Arguably, the best defensive player in franchise history was released and signed for our division rivals. And we're headed into 2022 without a definitive starting quarterback. Time for panic stations, everyone. Or is it? Roll back your clocks. It's July 2012. A number of fresh-faced rookies are opening training camp at the VMAC. Amongst them, guys like Russell Wilson of Go Hawks fame, Bobby Wagner, Bruce Irvin, Jermaine Kearse, Jeremy Lane, J.R. Sweezy, Robert Turvin. Any of these guys sound familiar? A team in turnaround mode with a coach completely focused on the concept of competition. Earn your job. 10 years later, fans of this team could easily find parallels between this 2022 team and that one. Arguably, there's been a cleansing of locker room personalities, bringing with it an opportunity for new voices to step up, an opportunity for fringe players to embrace change, and an opportunity for rookies to make a huge impact. It's hard not to be excited by this prospect. Even better, no one thinks this team is going anywhere but down. For the first time in a decade, no one expects this team to deliver. Very few expect a playoff position in a hugely competitive NFC West, where, at least on paper, this is the weakest team. Perfect conditions for a surprise. We like being the underdog. Sure, call it blind optimism, call it ignorance, hell, call it whatever you want. I'm excited about this year, and it's hard not to be. Leading up to a draft where general manager John Schneider wouldn't even have had the opportunity to trade out of the first round, whilst also being handcuffed to a franchise quarterback who wasn't likely to sign the long-term extension that he would have been offered in the Emerald City, Schneider managed a king's ransom from Denver for the club's own Emerald, scooping up former second-round quarterback selection Drew Lock, former first-round tight end Noah Fant, promising defensive end Shelby Harris, as well as 5 total draft picks. 3 of those selections came in March, leading to the selection of offensive tackle Charles Cross at number 9 overall, edge rusher Boye Mafe at number 40, and they traded their 5th-round selection in true Seattle fashion to grab a 5th and 7th from the Chiefs that would turn out to be defensive end Tyreek Smith out of the Ohio State and wide receiver Derek Young. Add to this mix their own and previously acquired 22 selections of Kenneth Walker III, Abraham Lucas, Kobe Bryant, Tariq Woolen, and Bo Melton. How's that for a name? And there's a huge amount of optimism surrounding this draft class, and rightly so. With the sad news of injury cutting short the incredibly promising career of running back Chris Carson, Seattle picked up stud running back Kenneth Walker in this draft, who many had marked at the top of their charts for running backs. It's no secret that Seattle's coaching staff believe in the ground and pound game and will be asking Walker in previous first round but injury-prone selection Rashad Penny to shoulder a large chunk of this offense for this team. On a team where the offensive line has been the butt of the joke for the last 5 to 7 years, especially with future Hall of Famer Dwayne Brown, or arguably future Hall of Famer, being allowed to leave in free agency, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas bolster an already stronger-looking line. Defense wins championships. Somebody once said that. Maybe Colonel Sanders, I don't remember. Well, if that's the case, then look at this defense. Sure, there's no Earl Thomas, there's no Cam Chancellor, there's no Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, or KJ Wright. There are, however, a few guys that can ball, and that was before the rookies showed up to training camp. Safeties Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs make the middle of the field a dangerous place to be. Young linebackers Jordan Brooks, Cody Barton, and Darrell Taylor shaping up to be a strong core, especially with the under-the-radar addition of former USC collegiate Uchenna Nwosu, who will see significant time in this Leo spot under the first-year defensive coordinator Clint Hurt, as the Seahawks promise to see more 3-4 looks than it has in years past. My God, we've not even gotten to the quarterback room. Well, one of Seattle's weakest positions in the last couple of years, this feels different. mostly because of the addition of two rookies that could well be the outside cornerstones of this defense in years to come. Kobe Bryant has been name dropped by guys like Richard Sherman as being someone who can be a huge component of this team, a guy who models his work ethic on his namesake. Bringing that Mamba mentality to this locker room can only be a good thing. I can hear Pete Carroll now. These guys are competing. Talk about competition. Human stat line, Tariq Woolen has crazy tangibles that could mean he's another Trey Flowers project, or what appears to be more likely, he could change the game with his speed and impressive wingspan. There's a lot of reasons for optimism then. But wait, why aren't we talking about the elephant in the room? Fair question. Pete Carroll has said on multiple occasions that he needs his quarterback to be a point guard. He needs them to be someone who can manage the game and execute the game plan. Say what you will about any sort of proposed disagreements between this coaching staff and the former star of Seattle, go Hawks. Pete will view his current position at quarterback as being an opportunity for someone to step up like Russ did in 2012 and be that point guard. Are Drew Lock and Geno Smith all pro players? You'd get long odds in Vegas on either of them, to be fair. Are they good enough to consistently run an offense, especially one that's going to see them hand the ball off at least 50% of every game, injuries permitting? Probably. Do they have enough support in a seemingly incredibly deep receiver room to get them out of trouble on short screenplays? Guys like the ever dependable Tyler Lockett? On paper, they certainly do. Do they have enough protection to give them enough time to make the right decisions? On paper, they do. But Evan, teams need a franchise quarterback to win championships. Yes, some of them do. Remember that time Russell Wilson brought the Lombardi Trophy back to the Pacific Northwest? Well, in that game, he went 18 for 25 for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns. Decent enough. Seattle's defense forced 4 turnovers in that game, and when the offense wasn't on the field, they scored 3 times. Russell Wilson put up 12 of the team's 43 points at the MetLife Stadium. Defense wins championships. Teams that win the turnover battle win championships. Teams that have competition at every position win championships. Teams that don't give up 100 yards in game penalties win championships. So obviously, I think the 22 Seahawks are going to haul home the sport's biggest trophy. Let's not get crazy. Of course I don't. I do think, however, that whether it's 3-14 this year or 12-5 or somewhere in between, this team has the makings of becoming a very nice homage to the team that went on 2 straight trips to the Super Bowl. If nothing else, it's different from the last 5 to 6 years, and that feels fresh and it feels interesting. I, for one, cannot wait to watch this team in action. And I'm going to be one of the lucky ones to do so in Munich later this year. And to watch these competitions for positions now and then, I can't wait to see what happens with this team. For the first time in years, I'm going to be really sad when I see some of the names missing from the final 53 at the end of the preseason. There really is that much competition for position at this club. I didn't even mention DK Metcalf or his 72 million reasons to continue along his developmental arc as one of the league's most exciting prospects. Man, how lucky are we?